I was meant to win. I am down and willing, so I will find a way. It took a minute, now it didn't happen right away. When it get hot in the kitchen, you decide to stay. That's how it winners made. Stick a fork in the hater on my dinner plate. I walk into the fire like it's just a bit of flame. I switch my style up, with the money pile up. I'ma get rich with life.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Clydesdale Media Podcast. My name is Scott Switch. I'm the Clydesdale, and we are here to highlight the athletes of the 2024 Legends Masters CrossFit Games. And I have with me Chris Anderson. What's going on, Chris?
Scott, great to be here, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, been a big fan of yours, watching you on the floor. That 45 to 49-year-old division has been awesome to watch for the last few years.
There are a lot of amazing athletes in that group, and every year it gets tougher and tougher as people age into it. So, yeah, it's a really good group of athletes and really good group of guys, too.
Yeah. Do you all plot out how you're going to take out a kneecap of Jason Grubb, or somebody else gets a shot?
Hey, listen, if you want to, be the best, you got to beat the best. And that guy has proved it, year after year, just how consistent he is and, how much he respects the sport. He's an unbelievable competitor. And, I look forward to taking a floor with him again, coming up in just about a month.
Yeah. And what's cool is like you and him are completely different styles of athletes. Yet you're competing on the same floor and going head to head in event after event. Yeah.
I'm definitely, probably the smallest guy out of everybody, but he's also so well balanced. It kind of size doesn't matter. He's big, but he's also very good at gymnastics. But that's why he is where he is. You have to be that well-rounded to be that good, and he just is that well-rounded.
So, what is your athletic background? What brought you to this point?
I was working out, just doing like conventional bodybuilding kind of stuff. Not that I was a bodybuilder, but that's just how everybody worked out. And then I was getting bored of doing that, and I was looking in magazines to try to find some different kinds of exercise. This is back in like 2010 or 2011.
What's a magazine?
It was Men's Health. Men's Health used to have these like inserts of these different like station type activities and exercise routines. And I was like, I want to do something else. I started to do those. And I was at a Y, and this woman who worked there was like, what you're doing kind of looks like CrossFit. You should do CrossFit. And I was like, what in the world is that? And then I found out there was one in the area. It was called Albany CrossFit, and it still exists, actually. It's one of the OG ones in the I live in upstate New York. And I went into there, and I fell in love back in 2011. I've been doing basically CrossFit ever since.
Was that one owned by
Jason Ackerman?
Jason Ackerman,
yeah. So he, he's the one who kind of grew me a little bit. I wound up coaching there, working underneath him before he moved to Florida, and then he went to Colorado. But yeah, so Jason Ackerman, that was his gym for sure.
Yeah, I thought so. I had him on, a couple months ago after seeing him speak at an affiliate gathering. And I think he told the story of growing that and then eventually selling that off.
Yeah, he built it from it was inside of this other health complex, and it was in this like little racquetball or handball court. And it just continued to take over more courts and grow and grow. And it really is the epicenter of all the CrossFit gyms that are, currently in our area. So we owe a lot to Jason.
So did you play any sports in school before, or just?
No, so my favorite sport growing up was basketball, which you said you've seen me before. Is probably not the best choice of sport given my stature, but that was really what I loved. And I played freshman basketball. I got cut from JV. So I was more like in the band geek side of things than I was in the athletic side. And then that kind of took me through most of my high school experience. I always loved sports. I would play sports with like my friends in like our neighborhood, but as far as like actual real sports, actually, not much of a career for me.
Marching band or?
Yes, for sure. I played in the pit orchestra. I played in the concert band and then the marching band as well.
So my daughter, she was big in the marching band and all the others as well. But the amount of exercise that those kids get in a fall season, and they're called I don't know. I always call it like they're a party band. So they like break down and dance in the middle of like their routines.
Yep.
And she would get so fit just marching day after day after day.
We would do like summer. I mean, I'm not saying it's the same thing as like double sessions for football, but we would do like sessions all summer long to get prepared for the upcoming season of marching. So like I totally feel that. It's more, yeah, it's more physical than you think it would be for sure.
Yeah, and especially if you played the tuba or one of the big drum kits.
Yeah, I was a trumpet player, so I got off easy there. But yes, you're right. Those people
Yeah.
are working real hard for sure.
Yeah. Man, my daughter's 23 now. We miss those days so much. Traveling the whole state, just watching her perform. But yeah, she's off doing her own thing now. So it's cool though that you found CrossFit, because really, like, stature is not a key element in being successful in this sport, right?
I mean, yeah, you could either use it as an excuse or you can work through it. And I just always have thought to myself, like, I am who I am. I have some advantages when certain types of workouts come out, and I just continuously work out the things that I'm not as strong in, like overall strength. But overall, I've been able to become pretty fit just by, doing CrossFit, working on all the different modalities, right? We're not great at anything, but we are pretty good at everything.
Yeah, when you look at some of the OGs like Chris Spieler and Matt Fraser, and they're not tall in stature by any stretch. Josh Bridges, and they had successful careers.
Yeah, Spieler was my boy. Like, so he was really in like the epicenter of things back when I started in 2011. He was like who I wanted to be, because I knew he was smaller than everybody else, but he competed, just as hard and was just as successful. And that I really kind of modeled myself after him.
Just a fun fact about this show: he was the first full-length video guest we had on this show.
Really? I'll have to go back into the archives and find that thing.
Yeah, it's like episode 25, and we're at like 900 and something now. So yeah, really early on.
Yeah,
but yeah, he was like one of the it was during COVID. He was one of the first athletes to contract COVID, and that's what the discussion started about. And then we got into his career. That's how long ago it was. But back to you. So you find CrossFit, you start training that way. When did you think, man, I want to compete at this?
So at my gym, I co-own a place called Fraternity, and we were a pretty competitive gym back in the days of regionals. So in 2015, our gym sent a team to the CrossFit Games, which was very cool. And then the next year, I was able to qualify to be on my gym's regional team. And that was when it was the teams of 6. So it was 3 guys, 3 girls. And at that point, I was in my mid-30s. So I knew that was going to be not going to be forever, because I just wasn't going to be able to hang with I was the oldest person on my team by far. And I wasn't going to be able to do that forever. And at that point, the Masters started at 40. So I just thought, keep getting fitter. At some point, I'll be able to potentially compete as a 40-year-old. And there were lots of competitions locally that I would be able to go in, like partner competitions, stuff like that. But it's cool. Like, I actually have a picture of my finishes over the open over the course of the time since I started through now. And it's pretty cool to see, like, when I first started, it was in like the 80,000th place. And then just to see how just putting in time and being consistent, how much I've been able to improve that, over time. But I knew I loved it right away. And then once I found out there was a competition side, I wanted to be in it. It was all local competitions at first. And then again, when I got a taste of regionals, being on the floor, and then I was aiming for Masters. And then eventually I was able to get that experience as a Masters athlete at the CrossFit Games.
So this is actually your 3rd qualification for the Games.
Yes, I made it in 2019 in the 40 to 44. And then I made it last year as a 45 to 49-year-old. And then again this year as a now 46-year-old.
And you made it this year under the old rules. Does that mean anything to you, that even if they would have kept it at 10, you still would have made it? Or does that not even factor in? It's just getting in the door that counts.
Well, I'll say 2 things. I think that if it was top 10, I'm sure people would have redone more workouts and the leaderboard would have been different. I think that once people knew what the number was, they kind of just knew. So some people in our division were pretty confident they were going to be able to be in that top 40. I did redo a workout, not because I was worried about potentially making it or not, but because I just was displeased with my effort. So, and one of the reasons why I redid it is I really wanted to be in the last heat at the start of the competition, because it just is so beneficial to be in that position. And so that was kind of a goal of mine, to be able to be there. And yeah, it feels good to be in the top 10, but the field is just so loaded with guys. I don't think it's just going to be the top 10 guys that are going to be top 10. There's just so many really good athletes. Now that it's been expanded to 40, there are just so many guys that can come up in a workout, so many well-rounded guys. And, I'm not under any sort of belief that just because I finished in the top 10, that I'll be a top 10 finisher at the end of this. That's for sure.
I think what's crazy is, and the change in how many people go is changing the dynamic of the CrossFit Games completely, because you're going to have more middlers. You're going to have specialists that are going to mess up the leaderboard for others. And it's going to be a little more chaotic than it's been in years past.
Yeah. The 2 other times I made it in 2019 and then last year was both those years happened to be 10 athletes only. So there's definitely less fluctuation, but when I've competed at Legends or at MFC or even other competitions like that, and the field is 40, there's lots of fluctuation, like you said, in certain ones. For me in particular, I may take a hit on the strength event or the machine event, but usually if there's some sort of gymnastics event or a lighter barbell or a longer piece, that's an opportunity for me to be able to get some more points back and hopefully climb back up the leaderboard for sure.
Yeah. It's funny. My co-host on my Sunday night show, Jamie Latimer, she's a big fan of yours.
Really?
Loves the way you move, and you are very similar athletes, where she is definitely weaker in the strength events and then stronger in the other events. And she's super excited because you can make up that difference then in your wheelhouse, where the strong guy may finish lower than 10th now.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
But she has touted you as one of the best movers in the sport. And she's been a big fan of yours for quite some time.
Well, I'll definitely have to be sure I see her at in Birmingham to thank her for that. It's very, very nice to hear. I appreciate that.
So I've had a lot of rookies on this week, which is just blowing my mind. And it's cool that more people are getting the opportunity to go.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What a piece of advice would you give to a rookie going to the games for the first time?
Well, some context here. When I went back in 2019, I finished last. So I was 10 out of the 10 people that made it. And that was a very humbling experience. I don't think I was quite ready for that stage. And I guess I have 2 things. For one, it's eat as much as you possibly can. That's like just a like logistics one. But the other thing I would say is try to like soak it in. At some point, whether it's in one particular workout, if you can, every time you take the floor, just spend 5 or 10 seconds and just soak it in. Because I know enough people that are in this space and that have been competing that an injury happens, their priorities change, life changes, and they don't back. And so part of my quest when I made it in 2019 was to get back so I had a better taste in my mouth after that 10th place finish, but also so that I could really enjoy the experience. Because the first time I was so stressed and nervous and all those kinds of things that, I don't think I appreciated it as much as I should have.
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to Brandon this morning, and he's bringing 50 people with him to the game.
That is awesome.
And can you imagine like being on the floor and forgetting to soak in that there are 50 people out there wearing your shirt, cheering you on? Like, you need to soak in those moments.
You do. And whether it's before the horn sounds or after, and, you're kind of picking up your belt and stuff, just looking into the crowd and waving at those people or looking at them. I think that stuff is really important. When I went last year, I had a small group of people that came and supported me, but just to have them there and to see them and have them cheering for me, like, it really enriched the experience for me. Yeah.
When he told me he's bringing 50, it got me so excited because I think that the cost to get in is going to be cheaper than it would be at the big festival that they've had in the past. Mm-hmm. And maybe more fans show up for the Masters because it is the only show in town. Right.
I hope so. Yeah.
And it becomes something really special for everybody.
I mean, I'm very grateful that we even have this opportunity. I'm very thankful for Bob and Jill, for all the Legends guys, and for CrossFit for continuing to support the Masters. And even, for you for having this opportunity to talk about it. I don't want to take it for granted. Justin LaSalle always says, like, we could be bowling right now. And I'm not hating on bowling. I'm just saying, like, we have this really good opportunity because people support what we do and what we love. And, that's another reason why you should also appreciate it, because you don't know if it's going to be forever. So while you have it, you just really have to soak it in and have those memories to come back to.
Yeah, I've been saying it a couple of times. My stats and info person did some research, and the and she's still working on it. The 35 to 49-year-olds going to the games have a combined 3 million followers on Instagram.
I'm definitely not helping that number out, but that's a pretty good number for people that are not necessarily in that Instagram demographic, right? I mean,
right, and that's all. Those are the people she could find on Instagram, right? So that's not counting everybody, but I think people downplay what is possible with this group of people when there are eyes and fans out there of you all.
And the people that are in this sport are amazing people. And I don't have no doubt that they all do what they can to help spread, the message about what we do in terms of fitness, but also the sport that we love. So the more eyes we can get on it, I think the thing I think sometimes HQ misses about the Masters athletes is that we're more similar to most people in the world. The people that are elite, they're unbelievable and very inspiring in their own way. But people like us are normal people who just live everyday lives and work jobs and have families. And that's more similar to most people in the world. So the more they can maybe get us out there, the more people they can get into affiliates and doing what it is that we do.
So just like my other co-host on my Sunday night show, Carolyn Prevost, you work a full-time job as a teacher.
That is right. I'm a 7th grade social studies teacher.
And so is that always what you wanted to be?
Yes. Pretty early on, I remember like in 5th grade, you do that project about what you want to be when you grow up. And I just always wanted to be a teacher. I just love being around other people and helping people. And I was pretty sure I wanted to be a social studies teacher. And then my 6th grade social studies teacher was amazing. And that kind of sealed the deal for me. And I pretty much stayed that course all the way through now. And I'm about to start my 25th year as a teacher, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Do the kids know what you do as a hobby?
Yes. They like to say that I'm jacked, or, every once in a while, if I need to persuade them to do something, they make me like walk on my hands or do a handstand or something. So I try to leverage it every once in a while to encourage them to make good choices and do good things. And also just to let them know that, a healthy lifestyle is kind of a good lifestyle to lead.
How creative do you have to be a teacher these days with attention spans shrinking and the social media world? How creative do you have to be?
Incredibly. To that end, I've written like 8 or 9 educational raps, and I have like rap videos that go along with them about the content that we learn, just to try to get them hooked in. So we'll do rap rehearsals in class and things like that. I think you have to just break, like I have a 42-minute class. If you try to talk for 42 minutes, you lose. There's no way that works. So you have to think about attention span. So it's basically like 8 to 10 minute windows. You try to do 3 or 4 different things over the course of that class period. Because if you don't do small, kind of intense, and don't change things often, yeah, you'll lose them for sure.
So these raps, I can get them where?
They're on my YouTube station. It's Mr. A 100, ITZ MRA 100. There's a playlist on there. So,
okay. I wish I would have had those before this. I would have played it.
Oh man. Well, you can listen to it after if you want to brush up on your early American history, Scott. So it's there for you if you'd like.
I always love that time. Like this country is so fascinating to me. Like everybody's like, where do you want to go in the world? I want to keep exploring America. It's just, there's so many cool little things. And I grew up in Western Pennsylvania, and so much happened there. Like my parents took us to Valley Forge and took us to Gettysburg and to Philadelphia. And most of that was through my sports growing up. I was a swimmer, and we had meets all along like that way, and getting to see all that stuff as a young child really influenced me in that area.
Yeah, I actually wrote my rap about the Battle of Gettysburg in Gettysburg when I was there on a social studies conference for a week. So I was actually sitting on the battlefield, writing lyrics about the battle so that my kids would understand the importance of that, and like in the Civil War. So I feel you. Philadelphia and just Pennsylvania in general is steeped in history for sure.
One funny story is and I'm older than you are. My dad and my mom took us to Gettysburg, and they had a tour, self-guided, that you rented a cassette tape, and you played it in your car, and you had to drive a certain miles per hour, and it would like talk about the stuff you saw. My dad could not keep the speed. My mom was getting infuriated because the The tour guide was not anywhere near where we were at. We didn't know what we were looking at. She was getting frustrated. But thank goodness technology's come a long way since then.
Yeah, that's come a long way for sure. We used to take our kids to Boston because there's a lot of history that obviously that happened in that city as well. And we recorded, this was in the days of like iPods. We recorded a digital audio tour of my colleague and I, who teaches 7th grade, and the kids listened to it as they walked part of the Freedom Trail. But yeah, you had to walk at a certain pace because if you were, if you weren't with it, then you would be talking about, I don't know, Paul Revere's Midnight Ride and not be in the right spot. So it's just, it's funny.
Yeah, the whole tour, my dad was going too fast, and my mom's like, "Come on, Mario Andretti, we got to slow down here," So much fun. So, will the kids watch you when you're in? And does school start before that weekend?
So for us, I get back on that Monday. So what is it, the 2nd? And school starts Tuesday, the 3rd for us, and the kids start that Thursday. So my old crop, some of them follow our gym account, so they'll probably be able to watch there. But and the school's been supportive too in the past, so maybe they'll send out the link. The 2 times I've gone, when I went in 2019, there was no stream, and then last year's, if you want to call it a stream, I didn't really send it out to anybody. Anybody that really wanted to kind of follow would follow the gym's Instagram to be able to watch, me compete. But it's really exciting to know that we have a stream, and a shout out to those guys that supported that we have a stream this year. And I mean, even what you said, you're going to be doing some, filming there and behind the scenes stuff. So that will be really, really cool to see too.
You're saying that the iPhone hanging from the ceiling wasn't a good stream?
I just didn't even tell, like it was just so, I mean, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but it was so just embarrassing. It was like, I just didn't even post that stream existed because I just think it was a bad look for CrossFit. So
I think I was disrespectful enough for both of us last year when it was happening.
That's crazy.
They should. There was no point in even having it, honestly. But you are getting a full stream this year. You're getting the best. The games didn't want Sean Woodland, so he came to the Masters, which is
what
awesome.
a win! What a win for us! Yeah, Legends a couple of years ago had them for some of the workouts. I think it was in 2022. They had like Sean and Annie, and I still have like that bookmarked when he was saying my name because I happened to do well in one of the workouts. He was saying my name. It was like, oh, Chris Anderson, blah blah blah. So like the opportunity to have him, calling our workouts again for us it's really, really, really cool, and very happy and very thankful that was able to be arranged. Our win for sure.
If that happened to me, I think that would be my ringtone. Sean Woodland calling my event is my ringtone. There we go.
Yeah.
And you getting him and Chase and Tommy and Lauren for this. It's going to be awesome. What are your realistic expectations this year?
Well, I mean, I think I had the perfect year last year. To finish 3rd, I think is unbelievable for me as an athlete. I'm not the most well-rounded person in spite of the fact I continue to work at it. So I'm not putting any pressure to say that I'm going to be a podium athlete or get second or win this year. I want to enjoy the experience. I'd like to, if I earn it, be able to compete in that top heat for most, if not all, the weekend. But I know that there are so many good athletes out there. I don't take that for granted. I'm not going to assume that that's going to happen to me. I'm going to have to earn it with, continue to train hard, staying healthy here for the next 3.5 weeks or so, and then putting forth my best effort while I'm there.
How crazy it is it? You've competed in this sport a long time. You have this 5-year window that's always moving. So every year your competition changes. Mm-hmm. It's almost like being in college over and over and over again.
It is, because this year now is the same group, not exactly the same, but of the first time I ever made it. So like those names I saw on that leaderboard are now back on this leaderboard this year in this group. So it's funny to watch it shift over time. And, but just the depth of the field, you just can't believe how good people are. But it just continues to motivate you on the days where you're feeling a little tired or not at your best. You just know you got to keep putting in the work in, because if you don't, you are going to get passed by. There are too many good people out there for that not to happen.
You mentioned that Ryan Redke was one of your good friends, and he's your competitor. Is that very common as a Masters athlete, that your competitors are your good friends?
Scott, the coolest part about the Masters is that all of the competitors are your good friends. You know, like that's the part I love that I think I have the hardest part conveying to people that don't understand. They're like, you do competitive exercise. It's like, yeah, that's what I do. But the coolest part is how cool the people are. You know, like Ryan, David Johnson. I can name a million people. Like for me, Rudy, who's in the age group younger, but like he and his family have become really great friends of mine. And that's something that I think that I'll have even after my competitive days of CrossFit are done. It's just the guys, the dudes are so great. They want to kick your butt when you're out on the floor, but when you're not, you're just, you know, talking to each other and bonding over that shared experience, because not everybody gets what we do. So it's cool to be around people that understand how hard you work and how much you love just doing, you know, competitive exercise.
Are you more excited to go compete or more excited to go see your friends?
Yes, I know that's
Okay.
the only answer. Both.
Yeah.
I mean, the opportunity to compete like is a gift, you know, and I know that as an athlete in general, and certainly as an older athlete, that's not something you can take for granted. But the chance to see people that I don't get a chance to see all year long, I get to see them you know, a couple of times if they make Wadapalooza or if I make MFC or even the Legends Championship. Like just being able to see those guys and spend time with them is really important too. It's the experience is not just the competition, it's also the camaraderie, and both of them to me feel, you know, equal parts of the experience.
So you own a gym.
Co-own it, yes.
Co-own a gym. You're a school teacher.
Yep.
You have a family. You train. How do you figure it all out? Or did you just cram it all into the summer when you're off teaching?
Time management. I mean, you know how it is. You have to. I don't do 100 things, but like the 6 or 7 things I do, I try to do 100%. That's kind of how I do it. So there may be some things I selectively omit from my life because I don't have the time for them. But if they're a part of my life, then I really try to give them the best of me when I'm doing them. So when I'm at school, I try to focus on my classroom. And then when I get to the gym, I focus on my training. And then when my training is over, if I coach a class that night, then that's what my focus is. And then when I come home, spending time with the people I love, like those are the things that you have to, what's important now, right? You have to do what's important in the moment. And it's not easy, but I wouldn't give up any one of those things. And again, sometimes I say no to going out here or doing that thing because I don't have time for it. I have to focus on the things that are most important.
How many people are you taking with you? Whoa.
I think I lost you.
I think I got you back. Can you see me?
Yep.
So how many people are you taking with you?
On this trip, to be honest, there's a small group coming from my gym, but they're coming from my gym because another guy made the CrossFit Games in the 65 plus division for my gym for the first time ever. Speaking of rookies. So it's very, very cool that we have 2 athletes from fraternity that are going to be there. His name's Rick Chapa in the 65 plus. It's the first time he's ever made it. And he is really, really excited. I'm probably more excited for him than I am for myself because I have had this experience at least, you know, a couple times before, but I'm really excited to share that experience with him because he's worked incredibly hard and he's earned it.
So you have a small group from the gym, family able to get down?
My family will not travel. I'm not married. I'm single. But my mom can't or doesn't fly. So she'll be watching me. She'll be cheering hard on the stream, I'm sure. But
Okay.
I'll be flying solo.
All right. Yeah. At least we have a good stream for that, right?
Yes. It'll be the first time she can actually, see it and watch it in a way that I think gives it the due it deserves.
And you can FaceTime in the evenings and catch up.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
So awesome. Well, Chris, thank you very much for your time.
I appreciate you doing this.
Blast.
Yeah, I really appreciate you carving out time for the Masters and really promoting us in the sport and all that you do to get our names out there, and we really appreciate it.
Well, this is just the beginning. Again, I've said it a million times. We're going to be there. Ellie Hiller and I are going to be backstage doing behind the scenes. We're going to have some videographers out on the floor capturing some of the action and put it all together as a pretty cool program.
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, and please come talk to us when we're back there. That's what will make it great.
I definitely will.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. We will see everybody next time on the Clydesdale Media Podcast. Thank you so much.